The blood had already dried on my collar when the bailiff asked if I needed medical attention. I didn't. Not anymore. Her husband's fists had made sure of that. A cracked rib, swollen cheekbone, 2 nights in the hospital, 3 days away from my kids, and one text from her. Stay away from us. Not him, us. She'd picked her side. I replied with one word. Done. But I wasn't. Not really. That courtroom was cold, flatteringly sterile, white walls, dry air. Everyone pretending they cared about the truth. I watched her sit next to him. Her nails were red. So was the memory of her mouth the last time she kissed me goodbye. My kid sat behind them. My son wouldn't look at me. My daughter tried. Her eyes asked the question she couldn't say. The judge said, "Any final statements before I make my ruling?" And I stood up. Not to beg, not to fight, just to speak. I used to believe betrayal had a sound, a shout, a sob, a slammed door. But hers was quiet. It started on a Sunday. I arrived for pickup, early. He opened the door, shirtless, bruised knuckles. I didn't even make it to the porch before he struck me. "You don't belong here anymore," that's all he said. She was behind him, didn't flinch, didn't stop him, just watched. Later in the ER, they asked if I wanted to press charges, but I said no. Not because I was afraid, because I needed them to feel safe, complacent, so I could see clearly. Because something didn't sit right, not just the assault, not just the cowardice, something deeper. My son had stopped calling me Dad. My daughter's stories no longer included me. Their drawings, the one she used to hang on the fridge, had someone else in my place. She said it was just adjustment, that I should let go, that this was healthy. But lies always feel like kindness when they're coated in soft words. I didn't scream, didn't argue. I started watching, listening. Every time I saw them, I took mental notes. Her new husband brought my daughter to dance class. She clung to his arm like it was hers to begin with. At a school event, my son refused to sit next to me. When I asked why, he said, "Mom says you get angry too easily." I've never raised my voice at my children, not once. It wasn't about custody anymore, it was erasure. So I started collecting. Text messages, voice memos, photos, dates. I requested their school visitor logs, talked to their teachers, paid for a private investigator, not to tail her, but to speak to my kids' pediatrician, their school counselor, their soccer coach. Patterns emerged, subtle, vicious, manipulation dressed as protection, lies told in bedtime stories, a new narrative being written where I'd never existed at all. I sent off for a court-ordered communication review, family forensic therapist. What came back was damning. Not just alienation, but coercion, emotional conditioning. My kids were being taught to forget me, systematically, methodically, lovingly. 2 days before the hearing, I received the report. 67 pages, cold, precise, and devastating. Her new husband had been encouraging the children to call him Dad. She'd told the school to call him the primary father figure, told the therapist I was emotionally unstable, said I refused to let go even though I was dangerous. They didn't know I'd requested the therapist, didn't know I'd installed cameras, legally, during one of my last visits, didn't know I'd recorded the conversation where she admitted, laughing, that she was just making things easier. When I printed the evidence and placed it in the manila folder, I felt nothing. Not rage, not sorrow, just stillness. The kind that settles after the house has burned down. In court, after the judge asked if anyone had anything to add, I stood, handed the folder to the bailiff. Pages 14, 26, and 51, I said. Everything you need is there. The judge skimmed, then read, then stopped speaking altogether. My ex-wife's face drained. Her husband leaned forward like he could read faster if he breathed harder. The courtroom was silent, except for one soft sound, her whisper. "You kept all this?" I turned to her, not angry, just empty. I just didn't stop watching, while you were erasing me. Then I walked to my kids, kneeled, looked them in the eyes. "I never left you," I said. "You were taken." Then I sat down, didn't look back. The judge awarded joint custody, mandatory family therapy, supervised visitation for him. My ex didn't cry. She stared at me like she'd just seen a ghost walk out of a grave she thought was sealed. I walked out without a word. My hands hurt, not from fists, from restraint. She'd tried to erase me with silence, with half-truths and bedtime poison. But I'd weaponized her peace, used her comfort against her, not with vengeance, with truth and patience. The final line of the report echoed in my mind. The children have been coached to forget their father. But children remember more than we think, so I'll wait. Not for her, not even for justice, just for the day they remember who I was and who she made me become. Because the worst revenge is being right in the end.